Well, we got that working. All right, guys, welcome in to a Saturday night stream. Yeah, the James Comey stuff, I saw that. It is remarkable. It was the exact. People thought it was a troll originally because it was almost too perfect. 8647, the exact days from 9/11. Pretty insane, especially for a former FBI director, just extremely reckless to be to be. I mean, it's like this is like some boomer Facebook mom who's like, "Look at this, I got Trump arranging shells on the beach." That's what it is. It's like a boomer Facebook post. This FBI director's doing it. Talk about Comey and GOP blocking Trump's beautiful bill. Well, yeah, because of the spending within the bill. But the Comey stuff, we'll see. Apparently, they talked to him. Secret Service visited him, and Krasenstein, the one of the brothers. Those guys are like 5'3". Those Krasenstein brothers, and of course, they love the attention. They love being visited by Secret Service, making themselves a victim. It's like I'm not touching. I'm not touching. I'm not touching. I'm touching. I would never call for the assassination of a president. How dare you? I mean, that's what it is. Angel Reese is a clown. Yeah, you almost wonder if they do that for ratings with the WNBA. I'm not, there's a lot of like I guess they're sports guys, but there's a lot of these people I see on the timeline that love the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark. I still have no interest. I mean, Caitlin Clark, I hope does well, I guess, but because I know they treat her badly and they're jealous of her, I still have no interest in the WNBA with Caitlin Clark at all. Gaming theory, what's up, man? Normie when Greenland. I don't know, man. I think the green. You know what? It's the news cycle. I tell you guys this. It'll be back in the news cycle at some point. I could do videos on it, but it's not. Trump did that trip. He's recovering from it. There's probably gonna be some big interviews tomorrow. They normally do Sunday interviews, although I don't know. Probably this normally they're pre-recorded, so I don't know if Trump will do anything. Maybe Vance will do something, but they had the trip and it was all about the Gulf states, the Gulf countries. So it's all about investment. Reproductive center explosion in Palm Springs, California. Good evening. What's up, Dex? What's up, man? Yeah, the Krasenstein brothers are just. I remember when they kept replying under Trump's tweets, they would have his notifications on. They'd always be the first to reply back in like 2016, 2017. I mean, how cucked do you have to be? That's your job to try and get notoriety by replying to someone's tweets. 2,000 Starbucks baristas went on strike over the new dress code. I'm gonna have to deal with this sun, aren't I? The sun is just like insanely. There's like 5 clouds in the way of the sun, but the sun still somehow shines through. It's gonna affect the lighting. I mean, it's been overcast all day. But she bent the knee. Clark. Well, yeah. I mean, look at how much the white players are outnumbered in that league. You want to talk about diversity? The NBA and the WNBA, so they kind of have to cuck to it. More trade deals need to happen this week. Needs to happen ASAP for rate cuts. Well, rate cuts are not coming on the 17th, on the 18th of June. So it's really irrelevant if they come within a week. They have to come at a certain point before July 30th. If you want them July 30th, it's not going to happen in June. They're not going to cut them unless something drastically changed from what Powell says publicly. I don't think there's any chance they cut them on the 18th. That's basically in a month. Even if there's trade deals, unless there's like all the trade deals, including the China deal, which I can't see happening within a month. Do you see Trump's latest interview? He said he wasn't mad at Netanyahu. I'm getting whiplash. I don't know what Trump's stance on Israel is anymore. Well, I mean, Trump is strategically not going to expose things to the public. Look, the point is, people, and there's a lot of people that just hate, they want Trump to be, it's the Israel narrative, so they want Trump to be controlled. Trump came out and said it's a hard line. We're not backing Israel in a war with Iran. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. Now, the Israel-Palestine situation, you want to have a two-state solution, it's a waste of time. It can't happen. There's just not, it's not sustainable. A two-state solution is not sustainable. So I don't know what people expect Trump to say. Trump is, his public statements are going to be different than what he says in private. We'll say that much. But maybe that's an optimistic view. Putin won't accept anything less than a regime change. Yeah, I definitely think they're holding out. The Russians are holding out. And the Russians have the upper hand as long as NATO doesn't involve troops. I mean, you can sanction them more. And I heard about sanctions that Trump was planning to put onto Russia. And the reason is because Russia will not end this war. Like, it's clear that it is Russia. So Trump has to try and pressure them. The sanctions are going to be through, like, energy, apparently, in terms of, like, coming with India and China and sanctioning them. We'll see. But I read that somewhere. So it really is Russia, and you might be right on the regime change. Love the thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Love the political content. Keep up the live streams. They're where it's at. Thoughts on the Supreme Court. Next step. So suspend habeas corpus. MAGA from Michigan. Yeah, I saw that. The ruling on the Alien Enemies Act. I think most people are just saying ignore it. I mean, the entire thing is just, I mean, how many, the issue is, honestly, whether or not the Supreme Court rules on being able to deport these people. Like, these are select few people. It's like gang members. The point of it is do we even have an infrastructure built up to have this many court cases to be able to deport 5 million, 10 million, 15 million people in the span of 3 or 4 years? I don't think we do. The issue is the people are allowed to come into the country and nobody gets blamed for that. It's not like Biden goes to jail when there's 10 million illegals that enter the country in the span of 2 years. But then when you try and deport them, you can't deport them because there has to be all these court cases and all this due process and things like that. So that's the big problem. It's like the scale is not equal. We can let in 40 million illegals and the president doesn't go to jail for doing that and the administration's allowed to do it. But then when you try and take them out, they say, oh, the current president, because he's not giving everyone due process, he's trying to, he should be impeached. But, I mean, you're going to have to do something radical. But the problem is, that Supreme Court ruling, it feels like it's kind of on I mean, how many does it really affect? Isn't it just based off of Venezuelan gang members? How many are there in this country? There's so many more just normal illegals that need to be deported. So I guess that would be my question. But I think there's not a big appetite for what the Supreme Court is doing. There's just not a big appetite for illegals being in the country, and the amount of that it's going to be required to deport these people with due process is so insane, with like proper due process. But it really doesn't make much sense because, I mean, we saw, although the numbers are flubbed, but a lot more people got deported under Clinton, Obama, and Bush. Trump administration approves 120K H-1B visas. I hate H-1B visas so much. Is 120K, what is the context of that number, though, compared to, I mean, we'd have to compare that to, like, what was approved in previous years. Maybe it's lower, maybe it's higher. I don't know what it is. 100, because like 120. But I hate H-1Bs, man. H-1Bs are really bad news. But, Trump, I mean, he endorsed Ramaswamy in his talking point to a degree on that. Thank you, IFO, about Canada, 51st state. Keep in mind that the olds are ultra-liberal, young people are more conservative. U.S. would gain more conservatives than they realize. Well, I don't think Canada, 51st state, is realistic, man. It's just not. I agree. I think Canada is turning conservative, and I think some people underestimate how conservative, like, Alberta would be. And maybe even Saskatchewan to a degree. Even parts of British Columbia are very conservative. It's very similar to like Washington State or Oregon. to where a lot of the rural area is conservative, but adding all of it, even with like a younger conservative base, it's just you would have to wait a while for those people to die. But I agree with you, just in terms of the boomers being very liberal in Canada and kind of holding Canada back from being more conservative, which has got to be very frustrating for the people of Canada, because in the United States, the boomers have also gotten more liberal here, man. So it's an interesting switch, which honestly is it's better, because that was the whole argument when I was younger was, well, conservatives are just old people. When they die off, they're going to be gone. All the younger people in college were liberal, and now it's kind of changed a bit to where it's more even across the board to a degree. But older people, like that age range 45 to 64, are still the most conservative. So you could say the older people are still more conservative, and certainly like 18 to 29 are liberal, but you are seeing a split with like 18 to 24 being more conservative than 25 to 29 being liberal. I guess that's kind of how it's going. At what point does Trump need to be consistent on his issues? It seems like at times there isn't a plan. What do you mean? I think he needs to be consistent at some point on the trade situation and the tariffs and stuff. So he's going to have to be consistent at some point, because we need there to be knowing within the market. And Trump knows that. The good thing with Trump is he's obsessed with the stock market. Now, obviously, he'll say, oh, it's Biden, he's the reason everything's down, whatever. He does do that, but he understands and he looks at the stock market. He's not going to gaslight people and say, well, it's down, it's good. He will look at the stock market, and he he realizes that it's important for it to be healthy. I mean, we've got great indicators. I was thinking about the metrics today on just how impressive it's been with the markets. When you look at it, and maybe you could say, well, it's lagging behind and we're going to see inflation in the future, but we've got right now low inflation and a stock market that has fully recovered after Liberation Day. So we've got a tandem of a booming market with low inflation. Now, I wouldn't classify it as booming, because to be fair, it's still lower than it was when Trump entered, but the stock market is doing very well, and inflation is relatively low compared to where it was, and it's beaten expectations in 2 out of 3 of the months that Trump has been in office. So it's been lower than what it was expected in 2 out of 3 months. That's the inflation. People are angry because they don't see it show up, but the inflation is slightly going down relative to, what it was a year ago. Well, I mean, it's not going down, it's going up, but it's lower than, going from 2.3 to 2.2. Technically, 2.2 is still rising, but it's rising at a lower rate. Did you see the Outdoor Boys quitting YouTube? Yeah, I did see that. That was a big thing. That's not necessarily, those channels are nice. He seems like a nice guy, and he quit it to be with his family. So I mean, you gain like 15 million. His channel is very unique, because he turned off all the comments, and he still gets just 10, 12, 15 million views a video. And what did you get? He said he got 15 million subscribers in 6 months. I mean, there's no way you could ever. And especially the way he does his videos, there's this huge production team with these YouTubers now, and it's all fake and it's all crap. That's the content that I like, to where there's minimal editing. If I have something where it gets edited 100 times every 3 seconds because you're trying to get 7-year-olds to watch it, but even I think younger kids will watch content that doesn't require 40 different jump cuts every 3 seconds. But that's content I can't watch. When you've got 30, even when people are talking, if I just did a video just talking about something, say with an actual camera, not with a webcam, the style now on YouTube is to, in between my breaks, is to cut that. So it's cut, and it's just me constantly talking. There's no flow of me breaking a sentence and then speaking again. It's constant, because I'm clipping everything and cutting it all together. That's what I get really angry about. If you do a talking video, and the people that just cut everything, it's just, there's 100 cuts. But he has a good channel, really, really impressive channel, and yeah, I mean, he seems like a low-key guy, and apparently he was being recognized, and that is something that's annoying for sure. I mean, I don't have to deal with that, but I know people say it's very annoying when you deal with that, and but it's kind of weird, because now I want my kid to do the channel. Well, I mean, your kid's gonna gain millions of subscribers if you stop and he starts. They're just gonna go to him, especially if you're in him. So I don't know exactly what he's gonna do, but Mm-hmm. Sup, man? What's going on, man? Your boy DeChambeau had the lead for one hole today, but then went bogey, double bogey. Really? I'm not even watching that. Imagine I pick another one, but I'll actually take a look at the updated recession 40%. It's not gonna happen, man. We're gonna get a positive growth in Q2. It'll probably go down to like 20% by in a month or so. Recession chances. What is it? Is it PGA? Scotty Scheffler, DeChambeau's at 2%. DeChambeau looked like DeChambeau had a chance there. Oh man, imagine if I would have called it. That would have been awesome. It's unfortunate. What are you gonna do? Progressive called Withers made an argument that electoral college, in a sense, is also DEI, based on the fact that somebody in Montana gets more votes than somebody in California. Thoughts? Oh, based off of the senators. They get two senators and a governor, and so does California. Yeah, but DEI is on a person-to-person level. That's just based off of. No, it's actually very important that we do that. Now, you could argue maybe against the senators, but it is extremely important to allow states that believe in different things to have say, because otherwise Montana would have virtually no say in anything if at the federal level. And they're a big, in terms of their land, they're big. So it's important because they might not have the population, but they have a massive amount of land, and a lot of it's farming, agriculture. So I would say that, but to me, that's a false equivalency. I mean, you're comparing DEI in a human to human thing. And by the way, I've been thinking about DEI. Let me say something about DEI right now, because I finally put it together with DEI and just how horrible it is. Think about this. The argument, and this is what Mark Cuban would say about DEI. He would say that, well, it's not about a quota system. It's just about giving the minorities an opportunity because they get looked past. So the minorities, they're valuable and they're worthy. They just get looked over because of biases and racism. Well, you have to understand, when you look at college admissions, look at any Ivy League school. When you look at it by race, the whites and the Asians always have to finish in the top 1% to even get looked at. And then you've got the Hispanics and the blacks finishing lower, but they get in. So you factor that in, and then the whole idea of DEI, like if you're hiring a doctor, you want the doctor to be from a very good school. These kids are getting into schools based off of quota systems. So it's still a quota. It's like your degree should not be worth as much because the whole thing's just a quota system. DEI would not work if it wasn't a quota system. That's the whole idea. That's why the federal government incentivizes diversity at these colleges. So the entire thing is quota. It's forced diversity. That's the issue. And by the way, there's another great example. If you guys have seen that, what happened in terms of that helicopter crash, go look up that story. It's insane. With the woman Black Hawk pilot. Oh, I mean, you want to talk about DEI being scary? I'm surprised because Trump called that immediately. He said it was DEI. And even his supporters said, no, you can't say that yet. You're saying it too early. That story is insane. You think there'd be a female Black Hawk pilot in 1970? I mean, it's just crazy. Did you see the astronauts looting businesses destroyed by tornadoes in St. Louis? That always happens. Yeah, that always happens. And we've had a lot of, every year we have crazy weather this time of year, but there's been a lot of it this year with just storms. Even here we've gotten some not scares. Like where I live, there's never really a, knock on wood, but there's never really a scare on any crazy bad storm, but we do get some pretty bad wind. We were supposed to get a big storm. I guess it didn't hit exactly like we thought. Thoughts on the Comey 8647 exactly. Yeah, I know. 8,647 days after 9/11, symbolism for something coming. And why did Trump post the Hillary video? I don't know. I don't know the Hillary video you're mentioning. I actually saw it on here. Something about this. Trump posts wild Clinton body count clip. Well, Trump shit posts all the time, to be fair. So did he post this on Truth Social, I'm guessing? Yeah, he posted on Truth Social. He posts this type of stuff all the time. So maybe not this, edgy, but I don't know. But Comey is just a clown. Why would you do that? People already think that you had a bias against Trump. That's why you got fired, and then you post that the exact number of days after 9/11, and you got to wonder if I'm not even sure. He probably just saved that photo and waited to be able to post it. That's what the guy is that is a, especially considering with where we're at in the world with all these liberals saying that they want Trump dead. Like, imagine something does happen and then obviously people are going to look at you. Like, how stupid do you have to be as a former FBI director to do something like that? They released the her tapes finally. They sound horrible for Biden. Biden can't even remember. You listen to the tapes, he can't even remember his name. It's Biden is it's done. Any semblance of Biden being competent or being a good the guy, he can't complete sentences. He doesn't remember his name. He doesn't remember when Trump was president. He doesn't remember his son. He gets the timeline wrong. But remember, we were saying they should release those, but it honestly didn't matter, the her tapes, because Biden decided he wasn't running. I'm guessing Democrats probably knew those tapes were terrible, and they're like, they're going to release these on October surprise. We can't, there's no way Biden can win. Yeah, I saw that about the governor in Colorado making it illegal to misgender someone. Yeah, well, how liberal is Colorado now? Colorado's got an amazing ski culture. They got great resorts, but they're dealing with that liberalism that's coming through California, and they're being impacted by it, especially when you're talking about the big cities, I'm sure. But I'm guessing the ski towns are still probably pretty good. But yeah, Colorado's a beautiful state too. How likely do you think is a U.S. collapse? I think it's very unlikely. We're just too powerful, and we're a very young country relative. It's not like, oh, we're extremely old and we're dying out. I don't think it's likely at all anytime soon. But you can't really. That's not something you can predict, unless there's like a crazy escalation of something. But you could say, well, the debt. What did our credit rating get lowered? But it had already gotten lowered. But they tried to the credit rating gets lowered under Trump. But that's a culmination of debt building up. That's what it is. It's not just one single president. You can't blame Trump single-handedly for that. Then they say, well, Republicans add more debt. Well, yeah, because we cut taxes, you dumbasses. All they do is give social programs. At least we cut taxes. Your last video about the guy who swiped 1,000,000 times was incredible. Watched it with your wife. You met on Hinge and realized how lucky. Well, yeah, that it is really bad. The dating, it's not good. But dude, it's such an imbalance, and it's an imbalance for there's 5 different things too. Number one, it's already like 70-80% men, 30-20% women, and on top of that, men will sleep down. Women normally won't. So you've got that combination. And now a lot of these women have this feminist view of just holier than thou. It's not good. Thoughts on New Jersey looking like a swing state? Yeah, no, I agree with you. If people are expecting Georgia to be, Georgia will be a swing state, but there's a chance Georgia goes blue in 28. It's too early to say though. But you could say, well, New Jersey. I wouldn't rely on New Jersey though, man. You know, to me, the elections, things swing, and there's going to be different swing states here and there, but the Rust Belt is still extremely meaningful. And I don't think the Rust Belt is going to swing like, oh, Pennsylvania becomes an Ohio 2.0. You know, maybe, but it's unlikely. Did you see China airdropping aid to Gaza? Well, they'll get some humanitarian points there. 2 million likes in one day. I hope he doesn't play the lottery. Yeah, that with that profile, it's like, dude, after a month, you should realize you're on there and you're a heavy set dude. You're fat. I mean, it's like you got to get off of there, man. It's just not gonna work out. I mean, unless you're okay with a fat girl, because that's really all you. I mean, that's really all you should expect. But even the fat girls will be like, oh, now I need an in shape guy, because it's just it's the unfortunate situation of the imbalance. Oh no, there's no way that's a coincidence. 8,647 days, that's not a coincidence at all. He waited to post it. He probably didn't even have that, he probably had that picture saved of the shells. 100%. He knew when to post that. But I mean, that's like that's what those liberals do is I'm not touching, I'm not taking. I never said to kill Trump. How dare, like, dude, their entire party, not their entire party, but most of them would I mean, they think Luigi Mangione shooting a guy in the back of the head because he's a CEO of, I mean, just the amount of, okay, he's a CEO of a healthcare company. Obviously, they do bad, there's some issues with healthcare. I'm not denying it. But I mean, that's an industry to where there's thousands of decisions made by thousands of different people. It's not, you can't just shoot someone in the face and then be like, oh, well, he did something bad, so it's justified. But I mean, I know they're like, well, it's supposed to get the conversation going, but I don't know. Healthcare is just so fucked. You read the credit downgrade, and Trump said he wasn't adding crypto to the U.S. Reserve. BTC may drop to 75K. I don't. No, I don't think. What do you think? The credit downgrade is gonna turn it really bull? I mean, we've already had two credit downgrades. One of them happened in 2023. No, I don't think that's gonna have as big of effect as people think. But I mean, that was a big one, to be fair. But BTC dropping to 75K, I can't see that happening. I mean, it could happen eventually, but not within the next 5 or 6 months. Hope Georgia doesn't turn into Colorado. No, I mean, I don't think Georgia will turn into Colorado. It can't be that extreme. Colorado is like a proximity thing to get people from California. They flooded it. But Georgia, there's some popular suburbs that are very lib. But it would still be within shouting distance, at least within the next 4 or 5 elections, for conservatives to win. I don't see it going plus. I mean, Colorado swung like crazy though from 2016. If you remember how close it was, and that wasn't it like 4 point Clinton win in 2016. How many countries have a ton of debt? Well, countries have debt. You could use debt to your advantage, but when it builds up like this, it's just not healthy. It's when you have the debt that we have, which is 37 trillion, and it's 2 trillion a year. That's the deficit. It's becomes a problem. Now, you could say it doesn't really matter. And originally, most people, when I was younger, people would say the debt doesn't matter because of how strong we are as a country. And that's why our dollar is backed by nothing. It's backed by like the fucking US military. That's what our dollar is backed by. It's backed by our how strong our country is. But thoughts on the big beautiful bill getting rejected? I think it's because of I'm guessing it's because of the spending. Republicans are There's some Republicans that they have their they have their principles, and so it's like, well, there's too much spending, so they'll get it. They'll get it through. BTC won't drop below 100 again. Hodl. Yeah, no, I agree. BTC might jump to 200K. 200K, it could be tough, but I would say 150 at least. 150 at least. But I mean, if it's already at like 105 right now or whatever, so 200 would be crazy. Imagine the alt season with that amount of money infused. 200K BTC. I mean, Ethereum would be 10K. As an Ohioan, I don't think we're going blue in 2026. Dems think there's a chance. The governor's race, no. The governor's race is going to be, I mean, looks like Ramaswamy. You know, there's someone just dropped out, Yost, I saw. So within the Ohio for the primary Republican. Yeah, so I would imagine it's very likely going to be Ramaswamy. The country, the state to me is just too right wing. You could say, well, I mean, what did Moreno win by 4? Trump won by 11. Moreno maybe won by 5. Yeah, I mean, in an off year, in a year Democrats traditionally would do well because Republicans won the presidency. Maybe it's closer. People cut off Medicaid. I don't think anyone's getting cut off of Medicaid, but they need to restructure Medicare and Medicaid. They can't do it though, unfortunately, right now. Hegseth saying start your engines at NASCAR next weekend. That's a huge update. Pete Hegseth. Yeah, he was on that trip. Did you see him? Kind of very awkward with his tattoos. Awkward visiting those Arab countries, the Islam. Do you think this turn away from Israel will hold? Well, I think Trump very clearly does not want to have another Middle Eastern war, meaning there's not going to be U.S. support of a Israeli war with Iran. That's what I think. Now you can say, well, he still supports Netanyahu in the war against Hamas in Palestine, but I think Trump has a hard line with Iran because Trump has to know that it's the antithesis of what MAGA is another Middle Eastern war that's the United States gets dragged into under Trump's watch. It just can't happen. It can't be allowed. There's just no way. And I mean, there's been talk of Iran coming to the table and being flexible in negotiations and potentially this being swung as like a better nuclear deal than the one that Trump ripped up the Obama one in 2015 because, you know, this kind of comes off as like a wishy-washy, like very odd thing for Trump to where you rip up the first one, but now you want another nuclear deal. Well, Trump might be able to swing this new one as like a better deal because there's going to be more oversight apparently by neutral countries to see the how they're enriching their uranium. Apparently, they can only go to like 3.26% enrichment under this new deal if it goes through. So I think the Iran deal is going to have to happen. It just has to. We can't. There's no way. Trump has to know. It's just not. It's not advisable. There's no turn away from Israel. Well, dude, like this is the whole thing. I feel like I'm talking past a lot of you guys who are like obsessed with Israel controlling everything in the United States. Israel very clearly wanted to perform joint military strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. Trump said no. That's what happened. I mean, I don't know. It's like I'm just telling you what happened. If you want to say, well, no, that's a long-term play with Netanyahu, like Trump told Israel, no, it's not happening. And then apparently Waltz was talking to Netanyahu and he reassigned Waltz. War with Iran would trigger World War III. I mean, it's impossible to say. Everyone says any hot war will trigger World War III, but I mean, it would be a very bad thing. Let's say we kick out the juice from Israel and give it to the Palestinians. Where do they go? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe to Europe. They probably disperse to probably to the United States as well, to the west. Vivek was right about H-1B. Our education sucks. Americans should go to college. No, the H-1B is really bad news. It's just replacing normal Americans that can work for not slave labor, but very cheap labor that you would figure. I think a lot of liberals, and you know what, the H-1B thing, it's interesting. Bernie Sanders and a lot of liberals are against the H-1B because it is rich billionaires exploiting like very cheap labor that you can control easily because of the way the visas work from the H-1B. So there is some overlap with Sanders on that, to where they hate the H-1Bs as well. The H-1Bs can only be described as just completely anti-American. It's not work that requires elite ability. It can be done by Americans, and it's just cheap labor. What is this obsession with cucking to the enemies and we're not going to war because we are afraid? Well, dude, you have to understand in the 21st century, everything is just based off of not escalating to nuclear. That's where every conversation goes. So listen, you can do that, and that's actually a liberal talking point when it comes to Russia Ukraine. They want to escalate it because they say we're bitches and we're scared to escalate it because it might turn into nuclear war. Well, then you can escalate it, and then if it turns into nuclear war, then I mean, so it's the whole point of where we're at in the 21st century is just trying to stay away from conflict because we don't want it to escalate into something significantly bigger. Our low birth rates are due to the cost of kids and women fleecing men in divorce court, as well as child custody. I mean, but it's deeper than that. The birth rate is low everywhere in all developed countries. You know, a lot of it is just. I mean, obviously there's going to be 100 factors, but it's just modern society. It's easier for a lot of people. They don't want to go through any sacrifice, especially women of putting their bodies to having kids. They think it's a sacrifice for themselves because then you have to look over after the child. You can't work. I mean, obviously feminism is a huge part of it, but it's not just the United States. It's happening in all the first world countries. Yeah, but the education system is that's overblown. That's overblown. Our education system is not that bad, especially when you compare it to other countries. And on top of that, H-1B is not. See, I would understand the argument with O-1. It's like you need elite people. The O-1 visa is elite talent, right? And so you say, well, we need elite talent. Honestly, I don't even want elite talent because it's like I don't want non-Americans to get like high prominent positions of power in the United States. That's my opinion. But I can understand the O-1 argument. It's like, okay, but then this just comes down to like GDP, and it's like a feminist talking point. We didn't have the number one GDP. Like based on what? Based on power? I mean, we already have the number one GDP by $10 trillion. It's like it becomes this demographics versus GDP argument. I feel, but I mean, you could say our education system needs to improve, but that doesn't mean we need H-1B visas. I'm going to the moon soon. Remember when Elon Musk? Oh no, Trump's like he's going to Mars. He's going in a rocket. That's what Trump said, and Elon was right next to him. It was a weird thing. Thoughts on Byron Donalds, Florida governor? Yeah, I mean that'll be in it. You know that once again you've got the DeSantis family going against MAGA. So what is it? Is Casey DeSantis running for sure? That'll be a crazy primary if that is it. Research and tech development. Rubio would default back to neocon status. Yeah, we'll see what Rubio does over the next few months, but people really like Rubio. They a lot of normie Republicans like him. He's been like one of the top performers with it. Well, what does he have, like 7 positions now? Like they give him all these positions. It's a joke, but like he has all these temporary roles because of the people getting reassigned. What are we doing if China takes Taiwan? Well, that would be they can't just take Taiwan. That would be a long process, I feel, and that Taiwan would fight, and China would have to drain resources in encompassing and taking Taiwan. To me, it's not just like they get on they get onto the island and just take it immediately. I think it would be a drawn out process, which is kind of similar to the situation with Russia Ukraine to a degree, to where they're getting like 1/5 of the country maybe, but it's a drawn out 3 or 4 year process, and they get sanctioned and they lose a bit of military might. But I mean, Russia's obviously not going full power in that war. If China takes Taiwan, are we going to be like, sure, go ahead? No, 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 no. We'll fund Taiwan. We want to weaken China for sure. But it's proxy. It's like Ukraine. Trump is funding Ukraine, dude. But I mean, now we are getting the minerals back. But still, I mean, we would much rather weaken China over Russia. China would be economically drained if they tried to take Taiwan. Well, they could take it on sheer just military power, but I mean, I think it would drag on. I think it would drag on. That's why they're trying to do all of this gray zoning, and it's like cyber warfare, and a lot of it is like trying to incorporate Chinese Taipei, which is what they call it. You know, they don't recognize Taiwan. They still have Taiwan out of the UN, but they're trying to like absorb the country is what it is. It's like they're trying to absorb it and force Taiwan to be extremely reliant on China. But I mean, they've got that amazing semiconductor company, Taiwan does. Those East Asians, man. I mean, for it to be able to develop a country like that on that small of an island with that economic might it's an impressive thing. How much was your Death Star Lego set? Well, I don't even have a Death Star Lego set, honestly, man. I used to when I was younger. It was like $400. It was the main one. It was a with all the compartments, but I ended up selling that probably in like 2017. They will take Taiwan if your MAGA Republicans just cuck to every enemy. But that's not happening. Yet what you're doing is you're acting like a woman. You're being nonsensical. We're funding Ukraine right now. Now you could say, well, Trump didn't fund them, but the point is we're funding Ukraine, and we're possibly going to sanction Russia to try and force them to negotiate. So how is that cucking to Russia? But I mean, also you have to understand your viewpoint is very similar to liberals, to where it's like, yeah, who cares? We're just going to escalate it. We don't think they're going to use nukes. Well, that's fine. You can think that, but I don't know. Do you have like elite information on Putin and what he's doing? It's like these liberals. They think they know exactly like that the Putin's not going to do anything in terms of nuclear, which hopefully he won't. I'm not saying he will, but it's these arguments to where it's like it's a threat assessment. If Russia takes 1/5 of Ukraine, and you want to call that appeasement like Nazi Germany? I mean, it's not even close to the same thing. Remilitarizing the Rhineland, invading Czechoslovakia, annexing 1/3 of Czechoslovakia, annexing Austria, taking half of Poland, and then they declare war at the invasion of Poland. But it's I mean, there's like five things there. You've seen the Jake Tapper book exposing Biden's decline. I don't know what he's doing, man. Jake Tapper. You know, they're all they always release books too. That's the thing. It's like it's either there's something with emails or it's books. It feels like with these old people. But yeah, there's another book with Jake Tapper apparently. It's an interesting way to receive like really new information because normally you just get like you get a story on it or you get like a tweet. Am I for or against paying for box? I'm not sure what that means. I don't know what that question means, man. Yeah, a lot of people do the auto. It's like listening to podcasts in a way. I don't listen to podcasts anymore. I mean, maybe I'll see them on YouTube and I'll watch them that way. All right. I mean, I've been just we'll go to this because I've been talking. I don't think there's any news on Trump though because he's probably recalibrating after that trip. Trump is talking to Putin on Monday at 10 a.m. Talking about stopping the bloodbath, talking about how many people are dying, speaking with Zelensky as well. I will be speaking with President Zelensky of Ukraine and then with President Zelensky, various members of NATO. So he's talking to Putin and Zelensky at different times on Monday. Oh, it's about paying for it? Yeah, I don't pay for sex, man. Come on. Would you ever go skydiving? Probably not, man. Skydiving is. I mean, skydiving's got to be a pretty unique thrill, though, when you think about it. It has to be a pretty unique thrill, but I feel like it might take away. Like if you know there's a parachute, but still, it's like it's like something your body is like. There's a mechanism in your body that probably gives off some crazy just rush of adrenaline when that happens when you go skydive when you jump out because your body immediately probably has a reaction of like oh fuck. But I don't think I'd do that. I don't know. Trump and Clinton, best presidents last 40 years. Well, I mean, with Trump, it's hard because we got to see what he ends up doing. Like, there's just so much stuff that is out of the open when it comes to Trump and his historical presidential grade. There's a lot that is left to be Determined. Putin isn't interested in ceasefire. Well, I mean, he's not interested until something. I mean, we'll see what happens. There could be something that triggers him to be more interested in a ceasefire, depending on what these Western countries do. But right now, it does seem like he wants it to continue. What's the best place to live in Ohio? I mean, it depends what kind of personality you have. Really, that's what it depends. But I think the suburban areas probably. I mean, the major cities to me are just in Ohio. Not in general. I would never want to live in a major city though, so it's not even just an Ohio thing. But certainly not Cleveland, Columbus. Not even Columbus. Columbus is overpriced. Cincinnati is crime ridden, just like Cleveland. Depends on the part of the city though. You're glad Trump is continuing to fund Ukraine, but you got some MAGA people saying no aid at all now. They're grifting. Well, they said that because we weren't getting repayment for it, but I think they're probably changed their tune now that Trump has signed that minerals deal. The idea is we're going to get repayment now through the minerals. Now, maybe that's probably going to be a mess. I mean, anything involving Ukraine is a mess in terms of extracting that. It's just a very corrupt country, but I think they probably changed their tune if I had to guess. Crazy to think that during Clinton our budget was balanced, yeah, and then 9/11 happened. New York is how about all those New York Knicks fans? Have you guys seen these crazy New York Knicks? These people are rabid. And I know the Knicks are normally never good and they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals now. These New York Knicks fans are just deranged individuals. They're like assaulting Pacers fans and or not maybe not Celtics fans, I guess. But also there was a Pacer fan or something. It's just like these people are crazy. I mean, I understand, I guess, being passionate, but a lot of them are just obnoxious. Yeah, there was a story on that. The black fatigue stuff. It really is, honestly, it's just based that black fatigue stuff. That trend is mainly based on like public etiquette and just. I mean, you can see it clear as day. Upstate New York is pretty badass. Well, yeah, I mean, New York City is completely different than a lot of the rural area than most of the New York State. I mean, it's a big state. Would you take away the city? There's a lot of land there. They haven't even won shit. I know, but the Knicks have been bad forever, so they're going to be extremely excited. Any chance the big beautiful deal can still get passed? It can get passed, absolutely. They're reconvening in 2 days or something. They're gonna have to get it passed. Why are Republicans rejecting the bill? The amount they're spending is. I mean, therefore, the debt ceiling was gonna have to be raised anyways, but they want to raise the debt ceiling by 4 trillion. It's a lot in spending. This is the thing that every administration does, though, and there's no way unless you give someone like 10 years of a runway to really fix it. Because if you try and cut it, I mean, I guess you could try, but it's like you're really sacrificing economic growth if you cut it. But if someone has to try and cut it, I just don't think Trump's going to be able to do it in terms of cutting the deficit because of all these tax cuts he's doing, because of the military budget. We thought maybe the military budget would be cut by 100. Well, no, it's going up by 150. But I mean, it was never gonna. I just remember seeing something to where he was gonna cut the military budget by 8% in the span of 4 years. I guess that was fake news completely. Or maybe there's something they're talking about behind the scenes. You would love a Minnesota versus Indiana final. You like small market teams. Yeah, Indiana. Well, honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing the Knicks because the Knicks never make it anyways. So them in the finals would be interesting. I mean, there's never any finals games at Madison Square Garden. It's a legendary arena. Is Trump kicking the can down the road when it comes to the Israel problem? Well, Trump obviously still is still a Zionist. So nothing really is going to be solved outside of staying out of a major Middle Eastern war. That's huge, I agree, but there's just too many of his people Trump is close to are Zionists. I don't think Trump would ever waver in that. What do I think about JB Pritzker running for president? To me, I think he'd be a terrible fit for Democrats. He's a fat billionaire. That's a horrible fit for the Dems. But Pritzker has no chance. I mean, he could spend big money on it, and it's just such a waste. Pritzker's better off just giving that money to Americans to help them. Now I sound like a socialist or something. But now, the point is that it's just a waste. I mean, I can see it a mile away. Pritzker has. You could say, well, it's for he could get more popularity. So it could help him. But his chances are basically nothing. I mean, a fat billionaire on the Democratic side. Come on. Trump 55% approval. What poll is that? That seems pretty crazy high. He asked all the Arab nations he visited to sign the Abraham Accord. Well, he wants to get Saudi Arabia into it, and they were going to they were on track to be added, and then October 7th, and now the war. He's their Chris Christie. Yeah, but he's even worse because he's like really rich, and they hate those people. You're at 100 swipes on Tinder, no dates, or you're at 1,000 swipes. You said, yeah, you got a ways to go, man. I don't know, maybe just Photoshop your photos, dude. You'll do better. Just start coping about it. You can't force a two-state solution to trigger more war, and you can't displace the remaining Palestinians. It's a horrible situation to solve. No, that's what I've been saying, and it's just these people. They just it's one side or the other. I've said it's a bad situation, but I think the Arab countries now are going to help. This is what I heard. I heard, you know, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates are going to be investing significantly in the Gaza Strip. The Palestinians are going to remain, but Trump behind the scenes has said Israel is going to have a significant say in the administration of the Gaza zone or the economic zone, whatever you want to call it. So Israel is going to have a huge, like the administration, but then the other countries are going to invest into the Gaza Strip. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't think anyone really knows what's going to happen with that, with the Gaza Strip, but there's going to have to be a rebuilding process done and an investment made from probably those Arab countries. That makes the most sense. Yeah, you're talking about the her tapes disposition. You forgot what he said. Biden, he didn't remember. He doesn't remember his name. Biden in the tapes didn't remember his own name. This is where he was. I mean, it's crazy. And then they just lie about it. Like the media lies, and then they expect us to take them seriously. And then they tried gaslighting. They tried saying, "How dare you make fun of his stutter? That's an impediment. That's a disability or whatever." They tried gaslighting people. If Trump executed everything he's working on, do you see another big red shift in 28 where GOP candidate wins 52% of 52 to 53? What was Trump, like 48 and a half, 49? I don't think so. I mean, it depends who the Democrats run. But I mean, there's going to be a lot of, if Trump does do everything and keeps, but the thing is, even these situations the administration is getting put in, they're able to solve them and put cold water on them relatively quickly. Like, you get a bad indicator, you switch things around with the tariffs. You get a skirmish in the Kashmir region, you can negotiate a ceasefire within a few hours. I mean, they're being proactive. It's good. You're swiping on fat chicks too? That's like a cardinal sin, man. I mean, it depends. Are you fat? I guess it's acceptable if you're fat. Why won't Republicans touch entitlements, midterms? The political game is so tiresome. Yeah, no, it's the way the political structure is set up. If there was something to where there was no midterms and it was just an election every 4 years, they would probably be really looking at entitlements and cutting stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of fraud. I don't understand what Democrats say in terms of they cut entitlements, they cut your Medicare. So does that mean like we're not allowed to even look at like potential fraud within it? I guess that's what it is. And there was this other thing to where this lady was like, she's apparently getting $10,000 a month because she has some illness, and it's just like, I mean, the amount of money that we're spending is just. And listen, we want to help people. I'm not saying, but it's like we are spending a lot of money in certain instances through Medicare and Medicaid, and but then it's like now you're treading on thin ice. But the thing is, it's such a horrible thing. It's such a radioactive topic. They haven't cut a single thing, and this is why everything. This is why they say Doge is a failure, because they didn't touch entitlements. The Republicans have not touched entitlements, and Democrats still say they're cutting your Social Security. So it's like we don't even get to touch it, and then they still get to say we're cutting it, and it's a talking point for them. It's like Project 2025 over and over again. Can you make some historical election vids? I was gonna do like the top 5 biggest blowouts in U.S. election history. That would be maybe interesting. I don't know. It's tough because like the earlier elections didn't have all the states and stuff, so you're not really comparing. And then the electoral votes per state change with population shifts. Maybe based on popular vote, biggest blowouts. I don't know. You think Trump will look into entitlements after the midterms? He wants to do the right thing. Well, really the time to do it, because then after the midterms, it's going to be the 2028 election. So then they're just gonna you look into entitlements in 2027. It's a problem too, but there's no right time to do it. But it has to be done. And at a certain point, then people will accept it as like, oh, they actually, because Social Security is going to run out. We don't have the amount of money to we don't have enough workers to be able to pay for the people that are receiving Social Security. So at some point, Americans will accept that it needs to be tweaked or fixed or restructured in a way to where there's different investments instead of just keeping the money hoarded. I mean, there's going to have to be something that's done, and people are going to realize it. The question is, it probably can't. It's not going to happen until like 2028. Project 2025 was unironically a good thing. Yeah, but it's the Heritage Foundation. They put out stuff, I think, for Obama. I mean, it was all like a perspective bullshit psyop. Like they always put out stuff in terms of like what they want the president to do every 4 years. Tinder was actually doable in your 20s. Yeah, I don't recommend Tinder to people now. Tinder has certainly gotten way worse in terms of just the balance is just way off. What can we do about population decline? Are apps like Tinder? I mean, the adult film industry is I think that stuff should be banned. I think OnlyFans should be banned because it's just promotion of just something terrible, and it also women make money off of it, and so you're rewarding bad behavior. But that is an unfortunate negative aspect of capitalism. Is a lot of those women, they make $4 or $5 million a month off of that, and that's just a terrible thing for society. It is. So you're promoting a horrible thing for society, and they're also making money off of it that gives them, more clout and power, and it's just horrible all around. But the population decline, it's more of a 21st century advancement in terms of how we've evolved. I mean, you hear this stuff now, this really doomsday stuff about artificial wombs and stuff and women not wanting to go through pregnancy. I mean, this is what it's turning into now. I mean, we want everything pampered. We have to be stimulated every minute with our phones, with TikTok, with short form content. I think long form content needs to make a comeback, especially with young people. It needs to make a comeback. That's why, the TikTok stuff is just so bad. But then you can't even argue with the TikTok stuff. They'll just call you an Israel shill if I try and say, they call people that now. They say, I want TikTok banned. It's bad for kids. It's because there's a bunch of pro-Palestine shit on there. They're like the Israel lobby AIPAC wants it banned because there's a bunch of Palestine shit on TikTok. From what I know, TikTok, they moderate the hell out of it. You can't post shit on TikTok, so I don't know what gets posted that's even allowed to go through. Handmaid's Tale, Project 2025. Yeah, the way they hyped up Project 2025, man. Any dating advice? I got nothing for you. Honestly, I mean, I don't know. Thoughts on boosting your investment portfolio by diversifying with high dividend stocks, adding to the blue chip stocks? Well, listen, you know, especially when it comes to stocks, I'm not even in stocks, so I really am not going to give you any advice on that. But I would have to know your risk tolerance as an individual and where you're at in life. I mean, it depends. It's very important in terms of giving somebody advice on something like that. So there's no way I'd be able to tell you. It depends how old you are. It depends if you have a family. It depends how many people rely on you. But a lot of it with Americans, it's you put it in the 401k, you put it in the S&P, Nasdaq. I would just say Nasdaq's a little bit more risky, but it's going to give you a better return. But I guess it depends when you enter. You think Tate has a point when he says most girls won't find a guy holding a fish attractive? Maybe some countries girls might, but most, yeah, no, I mean that's a meme though, the whole fish thing, because guys used to do that all the time for their dating pictures, and women hated it because it's like it kept getting so repetitive. The whole thing where you hold a fish. I mean, that's what's going on with the reports saying DHS is considering a reality show for illegal immigrants seeking citizenship. Well, I think they put them on a show, and if you win, you get the citizenship, you get temporary status. They put you on a game show, and then it's like 100 illegal immigrants, And then I think if you win, you get temporary, like you get a visa or something. You get like a freaking free Big Mac or some shit. I don't know. Oh man, let's do it again. Yeah, I thought you were gone. I went on a hiatus. I thought you were gone. Let's have peace for 4 more years. Trump 2028. I mean, I'll read it, man. I appreciate the $2. It's big money for my DoorDash obsession. I don't do DoorDash. I'm joking. Yeah, crypto is gonna explode. Excuse me. Crypto is gonna explode. I agree. VU 90% short-term treasury bonds. Yeah, you're right. That's another one. 100 in short-term treasury bonds. That's interesting advice. 100 illegals versus one gorilla. Huh. That was a funny internet debate. There's always these internet debates nowadays, and that was another one with the gorilla. I think 100 men would win. I mean, a gorilla, it's a singular gorilla. Can't the men attack the gorilla at the same exact time? They come from different angles. How does that? I mean, I guess if it's bare hands, it'd be tough. Because gorillas have really thick skin. Is Truflation going back up because of the market? Well, what is Truflation at? Like 1.6? I saw. I mean, let me look at this. Is it at like 1.8 now? Truflation. Truflation.com. 1.83. Yeah, it's going back up because of the market. It's going back up because of the market, the market turn. That's why. It's not because of the tariffs. That wouldn't make sense. You're on the college financial status. Sorry. What do you eat? I mean, I normally eat like I'm trying to eat like chicken and stuff. I eat really healthy, honestly now. Because I used to, just get some bad fast food, but now I eat better, and I started working out again. I did. I started doing a bunch of push-ups and stuff, and I got really sore from it. But yeah, I'm starting to work out again. But I'm gonna start waking up earlier. That's the thing. If I can wake up at like 7 a.m., 6 a.m. like I used to when I was younger, this is what happened. Is I worked out really from the beginning of 2021 until mid 2022. I'd work out 6 days a week, pretty much. And this is true. I'm being honest. So the start of 2021 to like September of 2022, I worked out basically every day outside of like Sunday and like 5 days a week, 6 days a week, I'd work out. Then it was sporadic, and then I would still go sporadically, like 3 days a week, something like that, 4 days a week, maybe just do cardio. And then I just stopped in 2023 because I'm just like, it doesn't even, like, I'm not going to get fat if I just don't work out because I just don't have the appetite. But I can still build more muscle, so now I'm going to start working out again. When they say it's good for you. Steamed fish. I could never get into salmon. Salmon it's really good for healthy food, yeah. What was your bench press? I only did I only did dumbbells. I could do about 80-pound dumbbells. That was about it. It's the best antidepressant. Yeah, no, when you get into a rhythm with the gym, I feel like this is the weird thing with the gym. When I went to the gym, I was in better shape, but I made no money. I was not a good YouTuber, but then I stopped going to the gym and my channel blew up. You could say, well, there's no correlation there, but it's like it's something about being obsessed with the gym and your content suffers from it. I really do think there is something to that. But I mean, I know there's a happy medium in terms of both things. I mean, I probably could have worked. I mean, the thing is if you're waking up at 9 a.m., I was going to the gym at 6 a.m. So I could have the day started at 8 a.m. instead of waking up at 9 while already going to the gym. So it just depends when you wake up in the morning, is what I'm saying. What music do you like? Like just white dude music. 100 gingers versus one gorilla. Yeah, I mean gingers get discriminated against. You're right. I mean that actually is a serious thing. I'm not lying. And Irish people got discriminated against when we came here. We did. And we built a lot of canals and a lot of infrastructure in the country in the United States. We had a famine. We were mistreated by the British Empire. Horribly mistreated. And they still somehow have Northern Ireland from us. And now our country is complete. We're just cucked. I mean, I never been to Ireland, but people are like, "Oh, you can't say you're Irish." Well, no, yeah, I am Irish. It's just it's the reality. I mean, you could say your nationality is American, I guess, but it's 80-pound dumbbells on chest is good if you can rep that to 20. Yeah, I can't rep that to 20. There's no way. There's no way I could even rep that now on a. I used to do incline, but now the way I do push-ups, I'll bring my arms so in, like I'll do very challenging push-ups. I'm not lying. The thing is I can feel it right now. Oh, I can feel it in my pecs. They're just so sore. My pecs are sore. My triceps, my biceps. Not really my back. You're supposed to incorporate your back into it as well. But I mean, it hits a lot. But I used to never get sore. And now, because I was working out every day, I never got sore for 2 years. For like 2 years, I never got sore. But now I'm sore because I stopped for 2 years. Please do not get fat. Please do not goon. Well, I gave up masturbation. And yeah, I never get fat because it's just based on metabolism, and I don't really eat much food. Your max is 215 at 220. Well, that's not bad, man. Oh. There were a lot of anti-Irish laws. That's true. High school started too early for you, 7:15. Yeah, my high school started at about 7:15 as well, or 7:20. 7:20 is when it started. I remember. You're going to high school this fall, not taking it seriously. I mean, what are you, like 16 years old, bro? I mean, you're 16 years, dude. When you're that young, you're so. I mean, and I know it's this. I know young people don't want to hear this, but when I was fucking 16, I was such a dumb motherfucker. I mean, you're just so stupid. It is remarkable because I remember when people say that, but older people said, "Well, when I was 16, I was an idiot," and then when you're young, it's like, "Shut up, old man." But then you're like, "No, it actually is true." I mean, you are retardio when you're young. Maybe, but some of these kids now they're a lot more mature than I was. Uh, I mean, there's like this there's like gooning now. It's the big word, right? Everyone's saying it in the chat. Yeah, I don't do that. They're trying to pass the bill. This is their propaganda. ICE receives funding. Well, ICE needs to be funded for sure. That's the only way we're going to get the deportation numbers up. But that might not even help. We'll see. Have a great weekend, Patriots. Where's the jet though? I thought Trump was getting the jet. Is the jet being delivered? Can we get the Qatar jet? That's the big thing now. They hate the Qatar jet. I mean, I don't think it's a good look, but bring in the jet. We're approaching Gen Alpha getting into high school. I thought it was Gen Beta. I mean, Gen Alpha, man. What are they, alpha males or something? That's a good generation name. You know, I got a shitty one with Z. Gen Z. Start saving now, you retire happy by 50. Depends what job you do, depends your expenses. I mean, some people can't really save a lot. It depends your life situation. But I mean, yeah, if you're relatively good with money, middle class, invested in a normie stuff, you should have a decent amount of money by 50 for sure. Boeing failed the president by not being able to build Air Force One. I don't know what happened with that. I'm gonna have to look that up to see the story on that. Does anyone know why Boeing has delayed the construction of Air Force One by what is it now? I mean, weren't they supposed to have it ready by 2024? And they're saying 2035 now. It's a plane. It's kind of important. Maybe it should be prioritized. Prioritied. It's my vocabulary is expanding to include words that don't exist. Off topic, have you heard of the conspiracy that in 1958 conservative pope was elected, but Israel Freemasons opposed him and threatened to bomb Vatican? No, I mean I'm not a Catholic, so I don't know that type of history. Okay, Boomer Girl was the catalyst. You remember the Bernie Sanders girl? Yeah, that was that even a TikTok? That was before TikTok, I thought. I felt like that was like the 2016 election. Okay, Boomer. Whatever you say, Boomer. Gooning is a sin. Yeah, I mean, I don't, I don't do that much. Are you from Texas, man? Is that supposed to be San Antonio mayor? They want more money. Is that what it is? Boeing does. Boeing has cited a range of issues from bankruptcy of a key supplier to stalling shortages and pandemic era chain problems. Oh well, then maybe they weren't supposed to build. I thought they were supposed to build that plane like 5 years ago or something. So they're citing the pandemic. Well, don't they have other planes in production? Thoughts on self-sufficient lifestyle, like living on a homestead in a rural area, producing your own produce, animals. Yeah, I couldn't do that. I mean, I do like the rural aspect. Like I like driving out in rural areas. It's a peaceful experience. It's nice. I like looking at just flat land, but I would want to be within distance of just a mid-size city that was not too demographically enriched. But like a mid-sized city. But like I would want to be on the outskirts. I don't want to live in a big city. It's just it would never work for me. But also, I think it's too extreme to for me to live on a farm or anything like that. Remember that girl Jeb Bush sent out to a Trump rally to heckle him about abortion? Bitch tried coming all cocky and Big Trump just humiliated her. Yeah, I remember that girl. Well, also there was the one about are you gonna allow women to are you gonna allow me to do what I want with my body? And can a woman make as much as a man? You're gonna make as much if you do as good a job. That is, it's capitalism 101. But they still do this whole thing. It's like women get 81 cents to every man's dollar. Well, no, it's a capitalist system. If you're better than a man, you're gonna get compensated more, especially nowadays with all the feminism stuff and the quotas. If men do a job to where they're more efficient with their time in terms of the tasks that they get done, they will be paid more money. That's how capitalist societies work. It's not socialism to where women get one for one with men. It's based off of productivity. What's happening with all this Chinese land? Aren't they telling them that they got to sell it? They need to sell the land. That seems like the easiest win for Trump ever. Kick the Chinese off. The Chinese bought a bunch of land strategically in the United States. I don't even know how it was allowed. Did you see that Amazon driver take a dump in people's yards? It doesn't surprise me. You know, Amazon, they were hurting for drivers. They were, how much do you get paid now to be a driver at Amazon? It's got to be 25 bucks. You know, Costco says they're at $30 now. Minimum, you get $30. Or what is it, $33? Yeah, Costco is a whole, and listen, I get people shop there. You cannot go into Costco, maybe at night. But even if you try and go in at 10 a.m., the Costco there's like a line of people. It's like fucking Black Friday. And it's like, and the thing is, I like their pizza. I do. They have good pieces of pizza. Like they've got really good pizza. Costco does. Their pizza's good. They've got a fruit smoothie that's good as well. You're from San Antonio, Texas, going out with your ex. She's Dem. You're going out with your ex girlfriend. Well, that's another. What is that? What do they call that? A situationship? What's that feminist word or whatever? So, I think that's what it is. Oh, we got another person from San Antonio. What do you think about Tulsi 2028? Did you see the odds on Tulsi? I haven't looked at them recently. I was really surprised. The only one that has odds that I've seen for 2028, well, there's a number of sites that do, but like Kalshi does, and they had Tulsi in second place. But I don't know, man. I mean, maybe but to me, it's like, why would people go against Vance if he's endorsed by Trump? It's just so Tulsi's like a VP material. That's what I've always said. Who would win in a boxing match, Sam Hyde or Hassan Piker? Well, isn't the story that Hassan is afraid to fight Sam Hyde? Ooh. What do you think about all of these governors like Sarah Huckabee using taxpayer dollars to buy Israel bonds? I saw that. No, I think it's terrible. Are we in another 1950s Cold War situation where there's serious, dangerous sympathy from the public and infiltration from communist powers from outside? I mean, what the Cold War was very clear and obvious in two different titans, the United States and the USSR. I don't really think we can equate that to a modern. I mean, what would it be? The U.S. and China? Oh. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up for this stream. I gotta take a piss, and I'm gonna end this before to go play some zombies, honestly. But it's listen, I'm gonna improve my content at a certain point. My content's gonna be better. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it'll get better. And you know, I want to do a video on the Bojanka plot. Here's the thing with the September 11th stuff. Well, this actually isn't September 11th, but I did a video on the Bojanka plot like a year ago, but I could never get it monetized. But I feel I can get it monetized now because of the way YouTube's letting me get some of the stuff, some of the 9/11 stuff monetized. So I think I'll do a video on the Bojanka plot. That'll be my next like 9/11 related video, and then I want to do one on the 93 bombing. But that's another video I've had issues getting monetized in the past. Why the short stream? No gooning. Dude, I'm done. I'm not doing any of that. You know, I'm on a good diet. I'm healthy, honestly. I weigh like I mean, I weigh like 153, 154, honestly, probably. I haven't weighed myself in months though. But I would say I'm like 153. And yeah, I could get to like 150. I'll be like in really good shape, honestly. All right, guys, I'll be seeing you.